Hello, I'm Riana Milne. Welcome to the show, Lessons in Life and Love, where I bring you special guests that give you cutting-edge information to help you improve your overall life satisfaction and increase fulfillment in all your relationships. Tonight's show, I am pleased to introduce my very special guest, Dr. John Grady, founder of the Spiritual Discovery Movement and creator of the nationally famous AHA course. Now, John, you know I'm a deeply spiritual person, and I coach all my people to find a sense of spirituality to smoothly conquer their difficult transitions and to overcome anxiety, depression, and stress. Because you're a doctor of spirituality, could you tell our viewers how that having a sense of spirituality could improve their life and their love relationships?
First of all, realize we don't have a soul, we are the soul. We are spiritual beings having a temporary physical experience. So, of course, the condition, the health of your spiritual self is what determines your emotional health, your physical health, your relationship health. It has to do with all that. I've always said that Western medicine thinks that we're physical beings, and they treat us that way. Western psychology and psychiatry think that we're mental beings, chemical imbalances of the brain, etc., the gray matter between our ears. But my life experiences have taught me that we are, in fact, spiritual beings having a temporary physical experience.
Now, John, I want to mention something. You brought up gray matter of the brain, and I've done recent research and found that the gray matter of the brain can be changed with meditation. If someone is meditating 15 minutes a day, every day, it does rejuvenate itself. Isn't that correct?
Of course. Your body, including the brain, is your vehicle, and you're in charge of it. And any ailment, emotional or physical, has its roots back at the cause level of what's going on with you at the soul core level. That's what the Gradian method of spiritual psychology is all about. How to go to that spiritual soul core level, find out what needs adjusting, correct it at that cause level. And it's amazing, Rihanna, but I've seen my entire 41-year career how physical ailments and emotional ailments, mental health, those symptoms, and I call them symptoms because that's not the cause, they fall away of their own weight because there's no more life force energy or spiritual energy feeding them to keep them going.
I so agree, and this is such a core component of my coaching program, whether it's individual or for couples. But in your opinion, if one person is very spiritual and follows a spiritual way of life and the other person in this couple is not, will this couple make it in a long-term relationship?
Well, I can't speak to that. Every case is different. But I would say this. What you're referring to is one person is consciously aware of their spirituality. The other person is not consciously aware of their spirituality, but they're still, in fact, a spiritual being. At a course once, a lady came up to me during a break and she said, "I'm here today because I want to learn to be more spiritual." And I said, "I'm sorry, I can't help you with that." And I explained to her that you can't be more spiritual. You already are a 100% spiritual being. I said, what I think you meant to say was you want to become more aware of your spirituality. And that's what we do in the Spiritual Discovery Movement.
Okay, great. Now, I have found two, when I have a couple, one is spiritually aware and as a conscious living being. And they're thinking about their choices, what they say, what they do. And if another one is just acting on impulses and they're just doing what they want to do because they do what they want to do, this is where the couples get into trouble. You know, if they answer the questions, will this hurt me? Will it hurt the one I love, my family, or my reputation on the job or in the community? Those are all conscious choices. And being a spiritual person, you're always doing what's best for the good. Isn't that correct? You're always thinking of people in an empathetic way and what's good for the...
Compassion.
Yes.
You can't, as a person unfolds their spirituality and becomes more aware and begins living as a spiritual being, I've always said I think the main goal of every soul that's in this big schoolroom we call planet Earth is to learn more and more and more compassion. And the more spiritually aware you become, the more compassionate you are towards everyone.
Exactly.
Because you realize whatever they're doing is a learning lesson for them. So don't take away or try to change their learning lesson. You're who you are because you're the sum total of all of your experiences, which were your learning lessons.
Yes.
and
true.
they're going through theirs.
Yes, in Buddhism they call it the Earth School.
Right.
And I love that. Now, like the lady that came up to you and said, you know, Dr. John, I want to be more spiritual. How can someone increase their knowledge in this way of being and living?
Well, first of all, it's not knowledge. Even Einstein said intuition is far more important than knowledge. So it's not a part of the gray matter. It's getting in tune with your spiritual self, because in our culture, in our society, we're taught to ignore that. So I always say that spiritual growth and evolution is not an outward search. It's an inward search.
So how can one improve that level? If they're really interested, they're going to say, well, what do I do?
Well, first of all, your blocks, programming, untrue beliefs are what separate you from your real, true self. I call the difference between emotions and feelings. Real, true spiritual feelings have no thought process behind them, where emotions always have a thought process behind it. They feel like feelings, but I differentiate in the hopes that people can get a better understanding of it. A feeling would be you look at a little baby and you just feel joy. There's not, oh, I'm looking at a baby, therefore I should feel joy.
Exactly.
But yet if you're feeling jealousy, there is a thought process. It's, they did this, therefore I should feel this way.
Instead of unconditional love.
That's the learned programming that you were taught. So that's part of the inner journey, to discover that and set it aside. It's like peeling an onion. The more you peel away the things that are inhibiting you and keeping you from being in touch with your spiritual self, the real you begins to emerge.
Exactly.
But there are certain tools that can help you do that. And that's what the spiritual discovery movement's all about. Teaching people the tools for that kind of spiritual living.
Yes, and I do that as a coach as well. Now, some people say, well, I'm religious. Doesn't that mean I'm spiritual? Can you briefly tell our viewers the difference between religion or religious practice and spiritual being?
I believe there's truth in all things, and not one thing has all the truth. So I've studied all the major religions, and I take what's true from them. And most of them, in their origins, the founder of those religions was a very spiritual person.
Right.
But then later, man, with his limited view and his blocks and programming and untrue beliefs,
sets up all these rules.
Right. It always became like a lot of the religions now are, I look at it and I think it's more about civil law, how to behave, rather than the journey inside. And
it is a lot about getting out of ego and being more about unconditional love to your fellow man and the universe in general. So please tell our viewers about your spiritual discovery movement and the AHA course so that they understand.
I've been doing this since 1970. You'd think I'd have it right by now.
You're one of those hippies that, you know.
No, actually, I didn't have time to be a hippie. I had to wear a suit and tie, and I was doing TV and radio talk shows even back when everybody else was being a hippie. But I missed that part of life.
Today, retirement, right?
I am, yeah. But the Spiritual Discovery Movement, or SDM, is a entire grouping of things, and most importantly, techniques that I developed. What makes it so different than anything else out there is I start every course by telling the audience, don't believe a word I say today. And they look at me strange, because where have they ever heard that before? And I say, what I'm saying is based on my wisdom, my experiences, and today you're going to have 6 or 8 life-changing, profound spiritual experiences, the kind that most people wish they could have one of in an entire life, and then draw your own conclusions. So what's different about the spiritual discovery movement, and it's been called a spiritual mastery pathway because it includes everything, it doesn't specialize, but are the techniques, the experiential way that I teach, and those that I've trained teach.
And when is the next course being offered? Do you have one in the Delray, Palm Beach area coming up?
People would need to go to the website and find that out, which is spiritualdiscoverymovement.com, and there they can find out. But I will tell you that what they'll find on the website is that the AHA course, which is the first course that we offer, is by invitation only. You can't attend a university unless you apply for admittance. The same with this. Since it is so in-depth, profound, life-changing, it's not right for everybody.
I understand.
So they ask for an invitation by answering 2 simple questions. And then they get invited to the AHA course, and then they're off and running in their spiritual evolution.
I understand that's the same with coaching. You know, I can only take so many people. I'm only one human being. And I want somebody that's really invested 150% to opening their mind to learning a whole new way of life and living and being. And one of this, in my program, is the spiritual component. Because I found it so essential in getting through difficult transition, growth, change, and just feeling an aliveness and light and energy about life in general.
Exactly.
So it's not for everybody, but for those that want it, I encourage them to definitely apply to Dr. John Grady's site and be a part of this fabulous movement that we love so much. And I want to thank the viewers for being with us today, and Dr. John Grady for coming in to share with us this essential way of being and living and improving your happiness levels in your personal life and love relationships. Thank you, John.
You're very welcome. My pleasure.
Our next guest, Joan Fradella, is a Florida Supreme Court certified couples and family mediator with divorce through mediation, who provides a choice for couples who do not want to be in a committed married relationship any longer. Joan helps couples move on in a comfortable and non-threatening environment in order to lessen the stress on the family, handling things without anger or conflict, and leading them to a comfortable, peaceful divorce. Joan, how is mediation a better option for couples?
There's a lot of anger and other negative emotions in general in getting a divorce. So with mediation, the couples can get through a lot of that, focus on the children, focus on exactly what the living arrangements will be, how to split up the assets and liabilities, and then move on from there.
I see so many people in the midst of separation and the anger, and the first thing we try to do is help them to communicate with peace and love and negotiate what their needs are, and I'm sure you do a lot of that as well.
We absolutely do, and it does empower them to be able to speak up and say, well, this is important to me, and here is why, and that is why I'm concerned with keeping that, such as the family home. One of the couple might see how important it is for the children, and the other one might not. Once we've sat down and talked together, me being a neutral third party, both parties end up understanding each other's positions.
Right. Now, who would be an ideal couple for mediation?
A lot of times it's a couple who has already gone through all the anger issues, perhaps even worked with someone like yourself, given it one last try after they feel they want to get divorced, so that they really can say, we're here, let's get over it.
Yeah, my program is called Relationship Rescue for Couples, which is either a 3-month, but usually they sign up for a 6-month program, because there's 3 entities, the one partner, the second partner, and the couple. So it takes a lot of time to evoke change. And very often, my program's successful, that they're not going into mediation or divorce, thank goodness. Right. But, you know, if they do still choose, and I would say mediation's a great choice for both of them saying, you know, I still love you, but I think we're best living apart. So that's probably the ideal couple, where the anger is gone, they're able to communicate with each other with love and respect, and they want to do what's best for the family and each other and move on in peace.
That's correct.
Perfect. Can mediation help with all divorces versus what's the difference between mediation and getting an attorney?
One of the main things is with mediation, the couple is my client, not him, not her. And with going to litigation, you each have your own attorney fighting for you rather than facilitating with you.
I see. And what can a couple expect? Like, how long is the process and what does it cost?
What we usually do is we try to keep it to about 3 meetings. It can go to 4 or 5. And we try to limit each session to no longer than 2 to 3 hours. Because even as we're doing it peaceably, it can get very exhausting.
Yeah.
So some couples will manage to have all their paperwork together, and it'll be a matter of 3-4 weeks. Other couples need to take a step back after one session, and it will take a couple of months.
Okay. And what is the approximate cost of that?
Generally,
is it per session, or is it for the process?
You give us a check at each session to pay
Okay.
for that session plus the hours that we'll spend on all of the paperwork.
Okay.
And generally, it will cost between $2,500 to $4,000, depending on whether you have some very complex financial issues.
That's a huge difference between getting a divorce and
Oh,
back
yes.
and forth with the attorneys and paperwork, and sounds
We
much-
managed to do it without eating into the children's college funds.
excellent. I mean, that's so important, really. How would someone contact you?
You can go to our website. It's www.divorcethroughmediation.com, and it's THRU.
THRU. And do you do this work in Palm Beach County, Broward County, or does it matter where the couple lives?
The certification is for the state, but we do work in Palm Beach County. We have an office conveniently located on Lake Worth Road, so we're very
Okay.
central.
Okay, great. And anything else a couple should know before starting their mediation? What should they get together for you?
The website will tell you all of the financial paperwork that you have to fill out, and we actually have a fill-out form on the website, so you can get in touch with us there with our emails, or you can call our office direct and leave a message. So generally, you will come into us with a folder of your assets and liabilities to get things going.
Okay. At any time, are the children involved with this, that you ask their opinion? Let's say one of the parents wants custody and they're fighting for that. So the child, let's say, is 16. And do you ask them to come in for their opinion?
It's better not to bring extra people in. It is better just the husband and wife. It is up to them if they feel someone else should be there. But we do not ask the children their opinion.
Okay. Is there anything else you feel our viewers need to know about the process?
Well, it is more amicable, it is more affordable than going to court, and it is confidential. What is said in mediation stays in mediation.
So if the mediation is successful, is there no court process at all?
The only court process is that you would take the package that we have completed for you, sign it, you go to court, and then the judge gives you a date for you to come and get your final rubber stamp approval.
So there's no back and forth and attorneys going in. Do you as a mediator go into court?
No, we do not.
Okay. So you're finding that court visit is peaceful?
Yes, it is, because unless there was something really crazy that one of them said when they showed up at court, it's nearly a rubber stamp. The judge does ask a few
Okay.
questions, looks over the paperwork. A complete package is a done deal.
That's great to know, because nobody wants to go through those other kind of nasty divorces. So, Jen, I want to thank you for sharing your alternative to divorce and your expertise and in providing mediation, which is a loving, more peaceful, and respectable way to end a marriage when both partners are looking in that direction. It's much more beneficial and peaceful for the family, and it does bring, a cohesiveness to an ending that can be difficult, but it's a much better way to end. Of course, remember, the best chances of a healthy, long-lasting marriage is when two people follow the same spiritual path and share that amongst other things, love, respect, things in common, but try to get on that spiritual path with your partner. That would be helpful. I'm Riana Milne, coming to you from Lessons in Life and Love, and as always, I wish you a very blessed, amazing life and to have the love you deserve.